Welcome to another episode of Growth Hacker TV. I'm Bronson Taylor, and today I have Justin Brooke back with us again. Justin, how's it going, man?
It's good, man. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. I remember the last time we talked, like you have so much knowledge about marketing, and the stuff you were saying was not the stuff everyone else was saying. That's what I remember.
I hope I can do it again.
I know you will, because it's just who you are. I mean, I remember after our last conversation, I couldn't stop thinking about running paid traffic to content, and that was like, now it's a thing. It wasn't a thing back then.
Right.
This was years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now everybody's doing it,
Now
right?
everybody's doing it, but like you were the one saying, no, this is how you get stuff working right now. So anyway, for people that didn't watch the last episode, Justin Brooke is a legit marketer from all aspects of marketing, from where to get the customers, what offer to drive them to, how to convert them, how to provide value to them after the conversion. Like, he really just has his head around the entire game. There's a lot of people that follow him online, look to him to understand what the industry is doing, what's changing in the industry. And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today is what's dying and what's coming to life. What are the trends we're seeing. You can find out about Justin from his company, DMBIonline.com. And let me just give you a quick plug for what he does, because it's pretty amazing. So you guys know Code School, right? You go to Code School, you learn how to program. You want to, get your programming chops up. You can subscribe and learn that kind of stuff. This is like that, but for media buying. So it's like a code school for marketing and growth and that kind of stuff, which I think is just an amazing idea. I mean, anything else you want to tell us about DMBI Online?
Yeah, so when I had an agency, that's when we spoke last time. The hard part for us was hiring media buyers. Nobody's coming out of college with an ad degree or a Facebook ad degree. And so it was just very hard to find really well-trained people to hire. And so I got sick of it, and I just said, I'll refer out all my clients, so I get a commission on all my clients still, and I'll just build it. I'll build the thing that's training these people. And we got 3,500 students now. I started in May. It's going great.
That's awesome, man. Well, like I said before, you're on like the cusp. You're on the edge of what's happening. And there's something you've been talking about for the last few months, and now other people are starting to be like, is this really happening? And it has to do with the Facebook max ad load, right? So
Yes.
First, tell us what that is, why it's bad or good, what it means to us as marketers. Walk us through this trend that is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying the sky is falling, or I'm not making anything up. You can go Google the Q2 earnings call for Facebook, and you can listen to the investors constantly asking, what are you guys going to do about max ad load, max ad load, max ad load? They keep talking about it. What it is for years, the way Facebook has been showing its shareholders an increase in profit, increase in revenue, they've just been showing more ads. You guys have seen it. If you go look at your news feed now, there's an ad almost every two posts. And so max ad load is, we can't jack it up anymore. Before long, it's just going to be all ads. So it's rumored to be coming in Q1 of 2017. We're almost freaking there. So the only other way that they're going to be able to make money is they're going to start driving up click prices, and you've probably already started to see this. We used to hear people talking about 10-cent, 20-cent, 40-cent clicks. Now we're like, yay, I'm still getting my clicks under $1, Mm-hmm. And so it happens. It happens with every ad network. I've been around for 11 years. I've seen it happen with Google. It's happening with Facebook now. They do have other measures. They're adding ads to groups, and now they have FB marketplaces, and they have the audience partner network. So there are other things, but you can see it. Click prices are going up. It happens everywhere. So
I'm glad you're saying that, because honestly, the last few months I've been in there running ads, and they're just not performing. I mean, I can't get the clicks cheap enough to make it work. And I thought, man, am I losing my touch? Am I out of touch with how to hit the nerve with my marketing message? Is the value prop not there? And you're saying, no, it's a bigger systemic problem, in that there's only a certain number of humans, and there's only so many times you can show those humans an ad. Therefore, the only way for them to increase their revenue is through jacking up the click prices, right?
Right. Yeah. Until they can figure out how to get more inventory, basically how they can copy Google
Yeah.
with Google Display Network, then they're going to have to raise click prices. And I see, we have 3,500 students in DMBI, and so I see this price rising over and over again. People are coming to me, my click prices are $7, my click prices are $3. How do I, help me? So we see it coming.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a guest on before. I think it was Guy Millionaires, and he said, paid traffic is essentially a business model competition. Whoever can spend the most on the click wins because they have the margin to sustain it. Is this just making that more clear that if you don't have real margin, if you don't have real value, a high lifetime value, then you just don't get to play the paid game like you used to?
Yes, absolutely. That's the way you win. Everybody thinks the way you win is finding cheaper clicks, but that's not true because usually the cheap clicks are the garbage clicks. You win at this game when you can outspend your competitor. Whoever can buy more bullets wins the war, basically. But there is another thing. If you can stay ahead of the curve and know where the cheap clicks are, you can still play the game. And so that's kind of what I wanted to jump on here and talk about is that there is a move over to Google, and you're starting to see more blog posts all of a sudden, Facebook versus Google, Google versus Facebook, which one should you be using? And I'm not talking about Google AdWords because those click prices are sky high, but I'm talking about Google Display Network. You're still seeing 20, 40, 60-cent clicks all day, every day over there. And it used to be that Facebook had better targeting. And they did for a long time. They had interest-based targeting. They had custom audiences. Everybody has that now. Even Twitter ads has custom audiences, So you can do the custom audiences, lookalike audiences, interest targeting on Google Display. But another thing that you can do on Google Display is they have in-market targeting. And so because Google has Android and Chrome browser and Google knows everything about everybody. I mean, they know when a wife is pregnant before the husband does, So the in-market audiences is Google saying, we know that these people are in the market for a car, for a TV, for business services, for pet food. Like I had a client one time who was selling like high-end premium freeze-dried dog food, for the people that like super, super love their dogs. We were able to create ads targeting people that were on dog food websites and were in the market for pet food. You don't get more targeted than that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, tell me if I'm wrong. It seems like, back in the day it was AdWords, and then we kind of all migrated to Facebook ads, and now we're going back to Google in the form of Display Network. So we're just kind of moving, back and forth. So if we're in Display Network now, how does someone have to change the way they think? Let's say they've been in Facebook land and they've been creating ads for Facebook and they've been thinking about the traffic from Facebook. What are they going to have to shift mentally to make the jump over to Display Network to make it work for them?
There is definitely a shift. It's not as big of a shift as most people would think. We often refer to Facebook as Facebook ads, so we think that Facebook ads are different. But in all reality, Facebook ads are just a display ad. They're just a different type of banner ad, just like any other banner ad. It's a little square on your screen that you click on. That's a banner ad, just because it looks different. And so it's still a display ad, so it still works very much the same. The difference is with Facebook, you have room to write up at the top, and then you have an image, and it can only be 20% text, and you have buttons. And so where on Google Display Network, you have text ads and you have image ads. And now they have something new called responsive ads, which is kind of like a hybrid. So a lot of it carries over, but you really just have to understand now you're playing with different sizes of ads. So like you have horizontal ones and vertical ones and square ones. And then now the responsive ones, changed all the different sizes. And so that's really the only difference now is you're still going to use like the same messaging, you're still going to use a lot of the same concepts. You don't have a 20% text rule anymore, but you have a lot of different sizes that you have to be aware of.
Yeah, it's actually comforting to hear that, that the fundamentals of marketing stay the same. We're really just talking about technical specifications changing. And that's the easy stuff. It's easy to create a skyscraper instead of the square on Facebook. Like, we can handle that. It's as long as the basics are still there. So, with the Google Display Network, we were talking before the call, and you said something that was kind of mind-blowing, that you've actually gotten 14,000 customers through the Google Display Network. And so, of course, this is Growth Hacker TV. I mean, we have to drill in on something like that, right? So I want to know, not just at a high level, what's the difference is. Facebook has max ad load going on. GDN is where the action is. Like, tell us what you're actually doing in there to drive 14,000 customers.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say, you got to have a good offer. You got to have something that people are going to want to buy. There's not some magical button that I pushed in Google Display that made that happen. So the client came to me with a good offer. It was a newsletter about learning stock market. I think it was gold investing, actually. And we're in a time right now in the world where people are really shaky about the currency and gold. So it's a good offer at a good price at a good time. That's key. So you got to have that first. Beyond that, so they hired me because they had a Google account that used to be banned, and they just got it back, and everybody was kind of scared to touch it because they didn't want to get banned again. They didn't want to get shut down. I'm like, oh, I'll take it.
That's awesome.
And I knew they had big pockets too, and so the way that I charged was percent of ad spend. And so at first our goal was just if you can get this thing to 100 sales a day, we'll keep it. And so I went in there and I did the things that I knew how to do. This was a couple of years ago, so my skill level at that time, 100 sales a day, was pretty sizable for me. I did it within 30 days. I did all my tricks. I did all the things that I know how to do. Good solid ads. One thing that people should know is a good ad in Google Display. The top half is an image. Right below that, you're going to have like a headline, and then to the right, it's hard. There's nothing to draw on right now, but to the right at the bottom is a little blue Learn More link. So it looks like an article teaser. That's what a good, strong display ad. I see people making banner ads that look like Disney banner ads, and they're all shiny and beautiful, and those don't work. I've tested them a million times. They just don't work.
Is the idea there the same reason, like you came on last time and said, look, run paid traffic to content, because people connect with content? You're kind of doing the same hack, making the ad feel like a headline to really drive them further down into the offer.
Right. Well, you got to think about the frame of mind when somebody sees one of these ads. They're on a piece of content now because when you're using Google Display Network, your ads are showing up on a website somewhere, usually a page where somebody's reading an article about something. And so they're on a piece of content, and they're trained to ignore what most ads look like. What do most ads look like? They look like banner ads. So if your ad looks like a traditional banner ad, their subconscious brain is so trained that they've done science tests. They don't see those ads.
Okay, let me ask you this. I see these ads all the time. I'm a woman who joined Dollar Shave Club, and you'll never believe what happened, right? That kind of thing. Or there's another one too. It's like, but it's very much like they're going to teach me something interesting, pique my curiosity. I think I'm going through to an article, and I am. But it's an article hosted on their website, and of course it's to sell their service. Is that what they're doing? The same idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it working for them?
That one sounds like it would probably work. I mean, I'd have to actually see the banner, but chances are they're probably using a pattern interrupt, a woman's face with a razor blade next to it. You're probably like, what's going on there? The other trick is diagonal lines. Your brain is so trained to see perfect. Like, I'm looking at your background and my background.
Everything's a square. Everything
is always a square that you look at. Our laptops, it's square lines. So whenever there's a diagonal line, your subconscious mind has to analyze it. Even it's a nanosecond, but it cannot ignore a diagonal line or circles. So yes, I went in there.
Sorry, I took you off track.
I went in there. I did these things. I made some good ads. I did, basic good targeting to their audience. they had a good offer. We got to 100 sales a day. They said, they called me up, said, great job. We have a new goal for this. Can you do 1,000 sales a day? And of course, I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely, no problem. Meanwhile, I'm like freaking out. My knees are wiggling. I just did everything I knew how to do to get to 100 sales a day. How am I possibly going to get to 1,000 sales a day? What I knew after I hung up the phone is what I did to get to 100 wasn't going to get me to 1,000. I was going to need like a whole new system. I was out of room, so I needed to rethink the whole thing. So I came up with something called Operation Nowhere to Hide. And
I love it.
I've got this big over here, actually, there's an 8-foot whiteboard. And I filled this whiteboard with every possible place that I thought their audience could be online. And what it really came down to was about, I think, 4 or 5 categories. So they're financial people. People looking for finance advice, basically. So they're hanging out on U.S. news websites. They're hanging out on like survival type websites because these are gold buyers as well. So
they're preppers also.
So they're preppers. They're hanging out on financial type websites. What is the price of gold? What is the price of copper type stuff? They're also hanging out on type of like scandal type of pages, various political scandals and news scandals. And then the other one was just political websites. So these are and then we extrapolated that. So there's 4 different ways to target in Google. You have keywords, you have placements, which are websites, you have topics, and then you have interests, So first, we came up with, so we took our campaign, which was just keyword targeting. And so we had our banner ads, and we had 5 different ad groups in there. So one ad group was political keywords. One ad group was scandal keywords. One ad group was survival keywords. One ad group was currency keywords. And then another ad group was U.S. news keywords. Okay? And then the way we grew that is we took that to placements as well. So websites about scandals, websites about gold, websites about, we just took those 5 topics that they could be, and we put it on all of them. So then we went to topics. So gold topics and scandal topics, and then we went to interests. Interest is like affinity. There's interest is pretty broad in Google Display. You have remarketing interests, so people that have already been to your website. People that are similar to been to your website. Then you have affinity targeting. Affinity is Google knows that they visit these types of websites. So like there's one called News Junkie Affinity. They know that these people visit a lot of news websites. And then there's like business affinity. They know they visit Entrepreneur and Forbes. So, and then there's in-market, which is another interest level. And so we basically took these 5 categories. We created 4 campaigns, and then each one was targeting at keywords, one was targeting topics, one was targeting placements, one was targeting interests. So we went from 1 campaign to 4 campaigns, and then I ran out of room there. We got to about 200 sales a day, 250 sales a day there, and I kind of ran out of steam again. And I actually paid one of my buddies, Tommy Powers, who does a lot of consulting for 500 startups. He helps them with their digital marketing. Called him up and said, dude, look at my campaigns. How can I get more juice out of here? And he told me to separate image and text ads into 2 separate campaigns because they both work. Image ads convert, text ads convert, but if you put them both in the same campaign, they'll cannibalize each other. They'll compete against each other because the text ads, or now it's called responsive ads, they can fit in any different size. And so they'll usually win, but image ads work just as well. So that tip alone doubled. Right away we went from 200 sales a day to like 400-ish sales a day.
It's crazy.
Stupid little things like that, man, mean all the difference. Yeah. And then the next thing that we ended up doing, so now we had 8 campaigns. We had 4. We went to 8. And then the next thing we ended up doing is males and females were working. But again, just the way that the system tries to optimize with their algorithm, we split it up into males and females.
Okay.
So 16 campaigns.
Wow.
It was something like 300 ads and 50 ad sets. But like, I didn't start there. I started with the one campaign and I grew it. And that's how you scale. That's how you get big. Everybody thinks that you're just going to go in there and you're going to launch this monster campaign. No, you start with something, you get it to work, and then you grow it and you grow it and you grow it. So we ended up, the goal was 1,000 sales a day. I ended up getting to about 500 sales a day. And then they changed the offer. I can't talk too much. It was with like a political person, and because of their in office, they had to take they had to stop the offer. But we got to 500 sales a day, and I thought 100 sales a day was the best that I could do. It was awesome.
Well, it's awesome, and thanks for taking us through the inside of how that works, because we get to see you hit a roadblock, see you figure out a tweak, see you, and I love what you said, that you don't start with the end in mind. You can't build Rome in a day, nor should you try. It's almost like you're pruning a tree. Like there's a branch that's working. Let's see if we can get some more branches down that path. A branch isn't working. Let's cut it off. Let's stop going that direction until eventually you really have something to show for it. I mean, that's crazy. All right. So another question I had is, you mentioned something before this call also that I was like, we got to talk about it. Let's just save it and talk about it on the episode. So I don't know what the hack is. We'll talk about it later. So you said that in Google Display Network, one of the hacks that you've been doing is to actually target people's inboxes, right? Now tell me what you mean by that and unpack it a little bit for us.
Okay, so what I mean by that, it only works with Gmail, but some people have been sending me screenshots of seeing it in Yahoo, so there must be some kind of partnership there. But basically, placements is one of the targeting options inside Google Display. One of the placements that you can target is mail.google.com. And so
that's awesome.
You can, it's called Gmail sponsored promotions. Like you got your inbox, and then you got your social box, and then the promotions tab. Well, these ads will show up in the promotions tab. It will look just like an email. It will have the little picture and the from name and like a subject line. And when you click into it, it opens up like an email, but it's actually an ad. And you have the ability to format it however you want. You can make a full landing page in this thing. You can make it look like a full, if you know how to get in there and do all the code and everything. I just make mine simple with like an image, a headline, a description, and a link. But yeah, so you can target people's inboxes, and the way that it works is by keyword. So let's say your competitor has a product named Widgets 3000, and you want to show up in anybody's inboxes that, like, if they've ever had an email with the word Widgets 3000 in it, you can show up in that person's inbox.
And they would have that email because they got on the trial, or they're a current customer, or they're subscribed to the blog or something. So you know they're a target customer based on their email, which might be more specific than other ways you might target them to reach them.
Right. And another keyword that you can do is somebody's domain name. So if you were, maybe you were Flopbox, and you were trying to target people who had the Dropbox.com in their inboxes somewhere, you could put Dropbox.com as a target. Now, like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know about trademarks, whatever. But currently, this is something that you can do. It's working really well for me. I'll tell you, I have one campaign with a couple different ad groups. So one of the ad groups is like our own brand keywords. So Justin Brooke and DMBI and our product names showing up in those inboxes. Then we have another one which is like topic keywords. So Facebook ads, Google ads, AdWords, native ads. That one is getting a lot of clicks, but it's not really doing the conversions, and it's just not targeted enough. So maybe I need a different offer for that one. But the one that's working really well is the competitor keywords. That one is killing it for us. I mean,
That's awesome.
on a $100 product, we're sometimes seeing acquisition costs of $5, $9. It's
Yeah,
sick.
that's awesome. Let me ask you this: you've set up and ran so many campaigns on so many networks. If you had to pull a number out of thin air, what's the hit rate? Like, if you set up 5 campaigns, are 4 of them going to fail? Or if you set up 5, 4 of them are going to work? Like, maybe what's your hit rate, and then what should we expect? Because it seems like it's a little bit of science and a little bit of art, a little bit of physics and a little bit of alchemy. It's like you can't just make it win every time. Like you just said, you got one that's not really working.
Right.
Are you okay with that? Is that just abnormal, or how should we think about this?
I'm so glad you asked me that question. Everybody always, I go into every campaign expecting it to fail. Every single one. I've built over 5,000 campaigns. I've been doing this 11 years. I've spent over $10 million. Every time I create a campaign, I'm expecting it to fail at least 80%. I know that 80% of what I put in there is going to fail, but I know that 20% is going to succeed. And my job isn't to try and make 100% to succeed. My job is to put as much in there as I can so that I test everything. Like most people put one ad, one landing page, one campaign. I put 3 campaigns, 5 ad groups. Each ad group has 3 different ads. I'm testing 3 different landing pages. Maybe I'm testing 2 different offers. I put as much in there as possible. And I know that initial round, I'm not spending my money on ROI. I'm hoping and praying that it happens. Out of 5,000 campaigns, I can still count the ones that worked out the gate on like one hand.
Yeah.
And so my goal is to be buying data with that first round. So you spend 500, you spend 1,000, whatever it is, and then you go and look which ads worked, which landing page worked. Turn off all the losers, put all your money on the winners, then you start making money.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
No,
that's what
awesome.
A pro does that a rookie doesn't.
Yeah. And a pro probably has peace of mind going in with the expectation that it's not going to work, and they're buying data, and 20% they'll double down on, the rest they'll lose. Where a rookie goes in, sees that, gets discouraged, says, oh, Google Display Network doesn't work. Facebook ads don't work.
Yeah, I've actually said this in an interview before. You would learn more about media buying reading a poker book than you would a book about marketing, because you have a bankroll and you can't be emotional about that bankroll. That those dollars you're putting in, that's just like points in the game of how you play. You got to stay unemotional. You got to be scientific. What I do, everybody thinks like what I do is I'm like creating some wizard ad that's super clever. No, my nose is in spreadsheets and calculators all day. Like it's math, it's science. What I do, it's a learnable skill, just like being a plumber. It's not about magic, clever ads.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Well, I got 2 questions always in the interviews with now. They're kind of fun. So the first one is, what are you doing today as soon as this interview is over? Whether it's eating lunch, taking a walk, like whatever it is, or whether it's some crazy meeting that's going to change the world. What are you doing when you hang up?
All right, so we're kind of in launch mode right now. We're launching a new course. So we got pizza coming. I think I can actually smell it. I think it just got delivered.
Yeah, that sounds
so
good.
After this, I'm going to go eat some pizza and then get back to launch mode. And then later on, I'll play some Overwatch. It's my new favorite video game.
Nice. All right, last question. I've been ending with this one forever. What's the best advice you have for any startup that's trying to grow?
Don't quit. Anybody who doesn't quit makes it, right?
I love it.
There's like this weird thing that's like if you stay with it for a year, like a year and a day, it's almost like some magical barrier of entry you've passed through. But everybody who quits too early, just stick with it, man. You'll eventually get it.
It's so funny you say that. Like I remember walking on the beach, and this is like 4 or 5 years ago. I was just starting out, doing stuff. And this random couple was on the beach, and the guy comes over, and we started talking, and he ran a chocolate factory in like some European country, right? And he's like, what do you do? I was like, well, I just started my business, whatever. He goes, just don't quit. He's like,
Right.
that's what he said. He was like, just don't quit. He's like, you're
Yeah.
gonna want to quit, and you're gonna think you should quit. If you just don't quit, you get to have everything you want in life. And I was
Yeah,
like, that stayed with me, you know.
many times, yeah, I've told my wife we've been doing it. We've been working together for all these years, and I quit for today. That's all I do, you know. And I go cry into a pillow, and then play some video games and eat some pizza, and then you're right back at it tomorrow. That's it. Quit for today.
That's the difference in the people that make it and don't. The people that make it have grit. They're not necessarily smarter. They're not necessarily better. They just have enough grit or not be able to just give up. And then they end up getting what they want and they make progress. I mean, I think grit is this like amazing, you know, power source for entrepreneurs. And if you don't have grit, I would say quit because you're going to eventually anyway.
Yeah.
You know? Well, Justin, this has been awesome, man. I mean, I loved it last time you were on. I love it this time. Let's get something on the schedule for, you know, a few months, have you back, and let's just get into whatever the new trend is. Deal?
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely. Take it easy. Bye-bye.